Sara walked past her boyfriend lying on the ground without showing any feeling. A bad guy with a weapon was behind her, but Sara didn't notice him. She even started taking a shower calmly. The bad guy looked through the bathroom glass and started praising Sara's beauty. When Sara couldn't find her towel after her shower, the bad guy even pushed the towel toward her. Still, Sara didn't know he was there. Sara was blind. That's why she was so calm. The bad guy knew she was blind, so he didn't kill her right away. Suddenly, Sara slipped on the floor. Confused, she felt around and touched her boyfriend's still body. Sara started to panic. She tried to run out to call the police, but she bumped right into the bad guy. Sara was terrified. She stepped back and asked, "Who are you?" The bad guy didn't answer. Instead, he started throwing things around the room. The noise made it hard for Sara to know where he was, so she decided to run away. Because she knew her apartment well, Sara managed to lock the bad guy out of the bedroom. She turned on her computer and used her voice to write a desperate email to her sister. Just as the email was about to send, the bad guy broke through the window. He held Sara down on the floor. The scene shifts to Sara's backstory. Sara was an American photojournalist, which means she took pictures for news stories. She was working in Afghanistan, a country that was at war. Her job was to show how terrible the war was through her photos, capturing sad and violent moments. But soon, Sara's life was going to change completely. One day, Sara went into a simple house. Inside, she saw a woman holding what looked like a baby. The woman was very scared and begged Sara for help. Sara went closer because the woman seemed so upset. But something felt wrong. Sara felt a strange feeling when she noticed something odd about the child. Suddenly, it turned out the baby wasn't real. It was a fake doll with a bomb hidden inside. Before Sara could do anything, there was a huge explosion and everything went dark for her. When the smoke cleared, Sara realized she couldn't see anymore. She had lost her eyesight because of that terrible event, and it would stay with her forever. 3 years later, Sara was back in the United States. She was trying to get her life back together after the awful experience in Afghanistan, which still appeared in her dreams. Now, she lived with her boyfriend, Ryan, in his fancy apartment. This made Sara feel safe and stable. Ryan was like a strong support for her, a calm place among her fears and memories. But even in their nice apartment, life wasn't peaceful for long. Old problems from the past and new dangers would soon mess up the quiet life she was trying to build. Sara would have to face threats she never expected. It was New Year's Eve, a time for celebration. Ryan stayed home, but Sara went out to buy some celebratory drinks. She used this chance to walk through the busy streets by herself, proving she could be independent even though she was blind. On her way, she bumped into a person on a bicycle and fell. A man helped her up, and she thanked him before going back to the apartment. The meeting felt odd, but she didn't think much of it, wanting to celebrate New Year's Eve with Ryan. Sara got home and called out for Ryan, but he didn't answer. Now the scene shifts to where we left. The bad guy quickly tying her hands so she can't run away or call for help. Sara feels more and more helpless as he controls her. Now, she's at his mercy and has to listen as he asks her about Ryan. The bad guy says that Ryan wasn't who she thought he was. He explains that Ryan wasn't an investor. Instead, he was a thief who stole something very valuable. The bad guy wants it back, and he believes Sara knows where it is. She says she doesn't know anything, but the bad guy doesn't believe her. Seeing how scared she is, he sees a chance to trick her even more. The bad guy lets go of her a little, giving Sara a short break. She quickly asks if she can put on warmer clothes, saying she's cold. The bad guy, a bit distracted, agrees and turns away to answer a phone call. While he's busy, Sara quietly grabs her camera, hiding it behind her back. Her mind races, knowing this might be her only chance. When the bad guy finishes his call and turns back to her, Sara swings the camera at him with all her strength, catching him by surprise. He's stunned and falls back, giving Sara just enough time to break free. She runs out of the apartment, rushing down the stairs with her heart pounding from fear and adrenaline. Sara reaches the basement, calling out for help, hoping someone will hear her. By chance, her friend Antonio arrives, and a wave of relief washes over her. She begs him to call the police, feeling a small bit of hope for the first time since this nightmare started. But before Antonio can do anything, the bad guy appears again, attacking quickly and quietly, killing Antonio. Filled with horror and realizing she's still not safe, Sara stumbles back out onto the street. She desperately looks for help from anyone nearby, pleading more and more frantically as she tries to escape the constant danger closing in on her. At this important moment, Sara meets another man named Robert. He seems truly concerned and offers to help, looking calm and reassuring. Desperate for any support, Sara quickly trusts him, telling him everything she knows, including her suspicions about the man who attacked her. Robert listens carefully, nodding kindly, and even calls the police right in front of her, making her trust him even more. But Robert's kindness is just a trick. Instead of leading her to safety, he cleverly guides her back into the building, making her return to the very place she was trying so hard to escape. Not knowing his real plans, Sara follows, believing she has found an ally. Once inside the fancy apartment, Robert's intentions become very clear and evil. The warm, caring look he showed Sara before is gone, replaced by a cold, determined stare. He's not there to protect her. He's there for only one reason: to find the money that Ryan, Sara's boyfriend, supposedly stole. Robert's true nature shows instantly as he joins forces with the first bad guy, forming a deadly team that traps Sara with nowhere to go. The two men close in on Sara, cornering her in her own home. Robert speaks in a threatening way, demanding, "Enough of this, Sara. Tell us where Ryan hid the stolen goods." Sara's heart pounds, her mind racing. She's trapped with two dangerous men, and her only hope to survive is to pretend to go along with them. Taking a shaky breath, she tries to buy herself time. "I don't know what you're talking about," she stammers, hoping they'll ease up. But her words only make them angrier. Her captors are losing patience, and they are determined to get answers. Robert steps closer, his eyes narrowing. "Don't lie to us, Sara. We know Ryan took something valuable, and you're going to tell us where it is," he snaps, his voice cold. Sara feels them closing in on her, desperation clawing at her insides. Realizing that denying knowledge of Ryan's secrets won't help, she decides to cooperate, if only to stay alive a little longer. Her eyes shift toward a large framed photograph on the wall. "Behind that picture," she says, her voice trembling as she points to it. Robert and the bad guy look at each other, not quite believing her, before moving towards the frame. The bad guy roughly pulls it off the wall and throws it aside, revealing bundles of cash hidden behind it. Their eyes light up with greed as they grab the money, stuffing it into bags. The sight of the cash gives Sara a short break, a few precious moments to breathe. But she knows this is only a small part of what they're looking for. Robert is still suspicious. His eyes go back to Sara, studying her carefully, and then land on the necklace around her neck. The single diamond pendant sparkles, catching his attention. "That's a pretty necklace you're wearing," Robert remarks, his tone showing distrust. Sara instinctively grabs it, her heart beating faster. She knows that if she shows any weakness, they will attack. But Robert is curious, and he's not going to let it go. "That's not just any diamond, is it? Ryan was involved in a big robbery, wasn't he? I'm betting what you're wearing is part of that stolen stuff." Sara instinctively pulls back, stepping away in terror. Realizing she has no choice, Sara decides to cooperate further, hoping that going along with them will keep her alive. "Yes, Ryan gave this to me," she admits, choosing her words carefully. "But it's the only thing he ever gave me. I don't know about any other diamonds." Robert's face darkens, not happy with her answer. He's sure she knows more. "Don't try to fool us," he snaps. "Ryan wouldn't steal just one diamond. There's more, isn't there? Tell us where he hid the rest." Trembling under their intense stares, Sara searches for an answer that might calm them down. "Look," she whispers, barely able to speak through her fear. "There's a..." She hopes this will satisfy them, at least for a while. The mention of a hidden compartment gets their attention. The bad guy and Robert look at each other, a silent agreement passing between them, his expression showing deep focus. But when he opens it, he finds only a deck of playing cards. Frustration crosses his face as he flips through the cards, finally landing on the ace of diamonds. Written on it is a mocking message from Ryan. "I'm number one." Robert's face twists with fury as he realizes he's been tricked. He mutters, clenching his fists as he glares at Sara. The bad guy, equally angry, slams his fist into the floor. "Where are the real diamonds, Sara?" he growls, his voice full of danger. Sara feels the weight of their anger pressing down on her, making her fear even worse. "I swear I don't know anything else," she says, her voice barely a whisper. Ryan kept so many secrets. I didn't even know about this. Robert has lost all patience. He exchanges a look with the bad guy, their frustration turning into rage. She's lying, Robert snaps, his face twisted with anger. She has to know where they are. The bad guy nods in agreement, his eyes gleaming with a dangerous light as he moves closer to her, his voice a harsh whisper. If you're lying, Sara, things will only get worse for you. Just then, a knock sounds at the door. Sara's heart skips a beat. It's her sister, arriving for the New Year's party as they planned. Terrified of what might happen, Sara quickly convinces her sister to leave, using the excuse of an argument with Ryan to keep her away from the danger inside. Her sister, concerned but unaware of the truth, reluctantly leaves, saving herself from the same terrible fate that threatens Sara. With her sister safely gone, Sara turns back to her captors, knowing she's running out of options. They're growing more impatient, and Robert's greed is starting to cause arguments between him and the bad guy. Desperation gnaws at Sara, but she sees a small spark of hope in their growing distrust of each other. Robert's face twists with rage, and he turns on Sara, his anger boiling over. Before he can act, Sara fires the gun, just grazing him and making him stumble. A fight happens, and Sara, driven by a strong desire to survive, manages to get free from his grasp. She runs toward the terrace, where the open air offers a brief sense of hope. Robert, enraged and determined to end this once and for all, chases after her. In a dramatic final fight on the terrace, Sara uses Robert's greed against him. She throws the diamonds off the edge, watching as he jumps after them, loses his balance, and falls to his death. The other bad guy meets a similar end, left with nothing but the painful result of his own greed and betrayal. Finally, Sara stands alone, bruised but alive. In the film's last moments, she gathers the remaining diamonds and puts them in ice cube trays in the freezer, a hidden treasure now safely under her control. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe for more thrilling stories.